sorry, it has been about 2 weeks since I made a video. Unfortunately, I hit a little bit of a creative block. There isn't a ton to talk about in the NBA right now, and overall, I just kind of think I was drained from making all those videos about stuff that, I just wasn't too interested in. I like to report on things that are happening now, and right now, it's the trade deadline, and there are a few players I really want to speak my mind on. But also, spring break hit. I wanted to take a couple days to work on my Instagram art, which it'll be in the description if you're at all interested. I make a lot of graphic designs with Photoshop and all that, and if you're interested in that, please do go check over there. But for now, I am just going to try and get back into the grind, making some videos. Trade deadline is this Thursday. There's plenty of NBA news to talk about. I'm going to start talking a little bit more about the NFL as we approach the draft and any other off-season activity we might see in the NFL. And overall, I'm ready to get into it once again. So please, without further ado, let's get into the video. So the guy I am talking about today is Demar Derozan. And this video isn't meant to be a critique on him or to put any Spurs fans down or whatnot. I honestly just want to appreciate the guy for what he's been doing this season. But I do want to talk a little bit about how I think that this whole stint with the Spurs has played out and what I think it means for him going forward. So to start off, if you follow basketball, you know Demar Derozan, Canadian icon, Toronto Raptors star since 2009 when he was drafted. He has been playing some of the best basketball of his career this season. He's been in the league for a long time. He's a seasoned veteran, and he's still improving his game. And he's a lot different from what he used to be. He used to be a pure scorer, athletic freak, just scoring at the rim every single play, averaging 28 points per game. That isn't the Demar we have now. The Demar we have now is averaging 21 points per game, 5 rebounds, and 7.4 assists. By far his career high from a playmaking assist standpoint. He's shooting 50% from the field, 31% from 3. Kind of expected. He's never been that guy. And 88% from the line. But one stat that draws me even closer to this whole Demar Derozan situation is 1.6 turnovers. It's the second lowest mark he's averaged in his career ever. And I think that's really impressive when you're also averaging the most assists you've ever averaged as a player on a team that was expected to be a lot worse than they are, but you're overperforming to a degree where, what is this team? Is this Spurs team a playoff? Do you want to play them in the first round? Popovich, obviously one of the best coaches of all time. They've got tons of young talent with energy, bundles of energy. Obviously, LaMarcus Aldridge is still there, which he isn't really much of a factor. He's injured right now, and DeMar is on the outskirts. I do think he will probably be traded. But if somehow DeMar DeRozan does not get traded by the trade deadline, I don't know if I want to play the Spurs team in the first round, assuming they stay in the 7 seed. The West is pretty close, down below in the 7 and 8 seed. They have inched their way forward. They have started to digress from what they were. They look to be, a 5-6 seed, better than the Nuggets. At one point, I thought that they might be better than the Nuggets, which isn't true at all. But they are only 3 games back from the 5 seed. They've been playing incredible basketball without some of their best players. They've been missing a lot of guys just due to injury, and LaMarcus Aldridge injured. DeMar DeRozan just went through the tragic passing of his father. He had to miss a ton of games due to that and the funeral processions. All in all, it's been a crazy year for the Spurs, but they have developed their talent. Keldon Johnson has stepped up. DeJounte Murray, Derek White, Lonnie Walker's had flashes of greatness. Jakob Poeltl has been playing very well this season as well. Everything about this team is clicking, and it all points back to DeMar and Greg Popovich and the Spurs organization, just their development of talent. I just love DeMar. It's hard to talk about it anymore. He has been one of the players you look up to. He doesn't do all that drama stuff. When he requests a trade, he does it internally. He doesn't go to social media. James Harden, for example, Obviously, a different caliber of player we're talking about here, but the way in which that whole thing was handled was very petty to me, and I hated the way it went down. And at the end of the day, it messed up that Houston Rockets team. They lost a ton of games to start the season, and then now they're on a 20 game losing streak, I think, and that has a lot to do with Christian Wood being out. But I think the way James Harden left that team affected the morale of the players, and I hated it. I did. DeMar DeRozan has done almost the opposite. He's been leading his team to wins night in and night out, while softly nudging his organization to kind of be like, last year your contract, buddy, it's time to get out of here. And that's what I want to talk about next. So DeMar has been playing great basketball, playmaking incredibly well. Obviously, he's never been a great defender, but I think his defense has definitely taken a step up this season from last season. He has been a little bit more of a contributor, per se. He's playing 35 minutes per game, 33 minutes per game, whatever, in that realm. He's the best player on the team, is what I'm trying to get to, and he's going to be playing a lot of minutes. But defensively, he's been okay. I wouldn't say he's been bad. I'd say he's been a little below average, but nothing to point at and say, let's take advantage of his horrible defense like you do with Trae Young, or what people have done with DeMar DeRozan in the past. So, with all that said, I do want to talk about the trade situation here. So, a lot of teams have been inquiring about DeMar DeRozan's availability. Apparently, the Spurs have made it clear that, DeMar is available to leave, and some reports have cited that DeMar has said, Eastern Conference maybe, have a little bit easier time in the playoffs. He was in the Eastern Conference his entire career, goes to the West, wants out. I think that's pretty funny, but in all seriousness, it makes sense to want to go to the West, especially on the last year of your expiring deal. And there's a few teams over there that are very enticing. I'd say the top three are probably the Hornets, the Bulls, and the Knicks, which are all three young teams that right now don't have what it takes to make any noise in the playoffs. But for all those teams, I think a player like DeMar DeRozan immediately puts them in a, I don't want to play them in the first round, like I was talking about with the Spurs earlier. So, Bulls, my team. The team I am most well-versed on knowledge-wise. I watch them every night. I watch every player. I know every player's strengths, every player's weaknesses. The package would most likely include Lowry, Otto Porter, just to make the contracts match up, a first-round pick at least, and maybe Kobe White. I don't know. That seems like a lot to me because, that's a lot of our young core. But we've been developing a young core for years, since Jimmy Butler left. And at this point, I'm sick and tired of it. I want to see us make a move. I want to see, us go after a guy like DeMar DeRozan, which I think this is the perfect opportunity. Lowry has not been playing his best basketball. It's hurt his trade value a little bit, but all in all, I think most teams see the level of skill he has and the potential he brings to the table. And overall, I like it. I can deal with giving up Lowry and Kobe and a first, possibly our first this next year, in return for DeMar DeRozan. I'd love it. I think DeMar would fit very well on this team as a playmaker and as a scorer. He'd be exactly what we need to fill in as a point guard a little bit. And Zach and DeMar would run perfectly together, along with Patrick Williams, who incredibly underrated rookie. If you don't watch the Bulls at all, you've got to understand, just because you're not averaging 20 points per game, 16 points like LaMelo, Patrick Williams is averaging like 8 points per game, but he guards the best player on the other team every night. That's a rookie doing that says volumes, and there's no weakness in his game at the moment. The only weakness I see is that he's not aggressive enough at all. So, with that said, I think that the Bulls would benefit. I think that the Spurs would benefit too. They can develop Kobe. They can develop Lowry. Those are players that need to take that next step, but haven't really done it, and we've given them time. Popovich can get it done. He's got it done with, I think, lesser players like Keldon Johnson or DeJounte. I think DeJounte is a lot better than Kobe and possibly Lowry, but you know what I mean. They develop players really well. Next team I want to talk about, New York Knicks. This team is one player away from being a legit threat in the playoffs. Julius Randle, most improved player. I think it's without a doubt he should be the guy to win it. they're beating good teams. They look good. They're in the playoffs at the moment. Defense is great. Obviously, Thibodeau, he wants to win. He wants to win now. And the only question would be DeMar's defense. Thibodeau wouldn't really want to run with somebody who's not going to be, per se, great, even average. I would say DeMar is a pretty below average defender. How is that going to work? I don't really know what the package would look like for them either. I'm assuming they'd have to give a couple first, just they don't have the talent to give. Maybe Kevin Knox. I mean, I don't think they want to give up Mitchell Robinson at all. I don't think they should, but if that ends up crossing the table and the Spurs take it, who knows what can happen then. They don't really have anything to match the contract with either. I don't know. It's kind of a weird situation there, but Hornets, this is the rare time where LaMelo's on a very low deal. He's playing incredibly, and he's out for the season. But he's on a low deal. Why not go after DeMar and then maybe pay him after this season? You already have a star player in LaMelo. Star, I say lightly. Star is a big word for me, especially superstar. But star is a big word for me. LaMelo, a little bit of a quotation mark there, but he's playing great, or was playing great. They can put DeMar next to him, and they don't have to worry too much about the money until 2-3 years down the line when they gotta give LaMelo an extension. So I think that could do well. I think DeMar would finish out the season, re-sign with the Hornets, and then I think those Hornets are playoff contenders if they get DeMar and they have some sense of a big man down low, like Miles Turner maybe. If they can squeeze away Mitchell Robinson from the Knicks, who knows? There's a lot of questions to be had here, and this is all hypothetical situations. But at the end of the day, I'm just here to respect DeMar. Toronto legend, came out of there. I mean, he didn't want to leave, They had to do something, and they ended up winning a finals because of it, because of getting rid of DeMar. His career has been full of sadness, just playoff droughts and playoff upsets, and nothing's gone his way from a success standpoint. But with that said, I think he's playing some of the best basketball of his career. Just because he's not averaging 28 points per game doesn't mean he's not contributing more than he ever has to his team. And even on a team which doesn't look like he'll be playing for too much longer, I don't think he's not going to re-sign with them. He might not even be on their team in the next 2 days. But for now, DeMar is on the Spurs. Expecting he does. I think the Spurs team is a little bit more of a threat than people give him credit for. So, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please do like and subscribe. I know this was a little bit of a ranty video, a lot less script. I'm trying something new here. I don't want to suck the joy out of making these videos by sitting down and typing a 3-page script on why I think Demar Derozan is the best basketball player ever. Just don't want to get into it. So, for now, I'll leave it there. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.